BaconBit.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's BaconBit, where we are taking on a movie of epic proportions.
Roar. I don't know.
Just roar?
I don't know.
Wait,
I can't make
which
the
character
noise.
was that?
You tell me.
It was the squid?
Yes.
Or the octopus
Because-
from the 1964 Godzilla vs. Kong.
Because, yeah, we are at 1962.
Oh, okay.
We were reviewing the 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong, not the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Yeah.
So
It's very important that the names have changed sides, so it's not a total remake.
That would be confusing.
Because the bias changed.
Well, also, this is Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm like, when did King Kong lose his title?
Well, he's not king yet.
He was king of Skull Island.
Yeah, but that's Skull Island.
So we're going to give the review.
There's not much competition
It's all
there.
going to be spoiler free here at the beginning, and eventually then we'll jump into spoiler full. But so even if you haven't seen the movie, you can still listen to this first part and hear our thoughts on the
Plus,
movie.
I'm very confused because you didn't let me watch any of the previous movies.
Wait, we didn't let you?
No, you said don't watch any of the other ones. Just watch Godzilla vs. Kong.
Because before this, there's been Godzilla. There's been-
2014.
2014.
Yes, there was
That's the one with Bryan Cranston.
Kong
Skull
Skull Island.
That's
Yep.
the one with Tommy Hiddleston.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the third one was Godzilla King of the Monsters.
That's the one
Came
with,
out 2
with
years ago.
11.
The 11?
With 11.
Oh,
what's her
I
name?
was like,
Millie Bobby
11
Brown.
bread?
Like this one.
The 11 Godzilla. You remember, he's a little more puffy,
Sure.
as you guys said.
No.
That was Jake. I blame Jake.
And just to recap my feelings, I was underwhelmed with Godzilla. I was I was mildly entertained by Kong Skull Island. Did not like Godzilla King of the Monsters.
At all.
No. Terrible.
Yeah, like terrible.
And can you recap your quick thoughts on the previous installments?
Yeah, Godzilla I was bored by because Godzilla barely shows up and Bryan Cranston is not in it for very long. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Kong Skull Island was a bit cheesy, but I like the character of Kong. I thought the design was really cool. And actually the design for Godzilla and Kong in each of these movies is amazing.
Okay.
Godzilla King of the Monsters had the worst human story ever, but the fighting, even though it was really smoky, was so cool.
I think I saw some fighting.
Yeah, there was fight. There was action in there. And which brings us to Zach. We apparently didn't let you watch anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing that.
I haven't seen any of the other ones. So I
Is
came
it
into
because
this.
we just wanted to take of like, hey,
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on because apparently this is a direct sequel to the last, whatever it was called. King of the
it
Monsters.
could be and it couldn't be.
I don't know if I know the characters, but having learned a little bit more about the franchise, I'm kind of used to it now.
This is the weirdest.
I don't know who's who.
Like, okay, so these American 4 films is the weirdest shared universe I've ever been a part of.
The MonsterVerse.
Where it's like, yeah, this one's connected, kind of. This one's connected,
yeah,
kind of.
From what I hear, the continuity, like X-Men laughs at it. It's just not really there.
Yes,
And that's
basically.
bad.
Yeah.
So, Ken, give us the synopsis of Godzilla versus Kong.
The epic next chapter in the cinematic MonsterVerse pits two of the greatest icons in motion picture history against one another. That's all you need to know. The fearsome Godzilla and the mighty Kong.
Big lizard punches big ape.
Yes, with
Yay.
humanity caught in the balance.
See, and that's such a generic term. It's like you could someone probably didn't even watch the movie. They read the title and wrote up that synopsis.
Yeah, they probably did.
Because that's all it really
But
is.
it does capture what the movie is. It's Godzilla versus Kong.
Which is what everything's about.
Yes.
So, and this is directed by Adam Wingard and stars, you got 11. You got
Millie
Bobby Brown. That's her name. Alexander Skarsgård. Rebecca Hall's in this.
Can we just talk about how Millie Bobby Brown sounds like an R&B artist from the 90s?
It's because Bobby Brown. It's
My prerogative.
It's Milli Vanilli meets Bobby Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It confuses me every time.
I'll go first on this one, Ken.
Yeah, I actually really want you to because you had so much vitriol for Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Really didn't like Godzilla King of the Monsters because I was totally, I'm not going to spoil that one either, but I was totally turned off by the fact that the motivations of the character, they're like, oh, this might be good, it might be bad. I'm like, no, it's bad. What this character is doing is bad. And everyone's like, well, is it though? And I'm like, yes, it's bad.
When you say character, do you mean Godzilla?
No. I mean one of the humans who says, I'm going to make this decision, and then their motivations make no sense. Where they're like, I did this. They say, I tried to save the world by destroying the world. And they're like, well, maybe they're a good person. I'm like, no, they're a terrible person.
But it's a pretty complex character, even though it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
No, you just like the actress.
I do, very much so.
Actor or actress.
Yes. Are you trying not to really spoil a movie that came out 2 years ago?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And then
Poor
you come,
Zach.
I haven't seen it.
So then you come to this one. And this movie, I felt a little like Zach in that my hair looked great. And then I also was watching this movie going, wait, why is this character here? What is happening? When did this character become this? I don't know what's going on right now. And as the movie went along, I kept thinking, like, did I forget something? Did I lose something? I should mention, by the way, I watched this on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because it was available in both in theaters and HBO Max. Mm-hmm. And it is definitely a movie that needs to be seen on a big screen.
By the way, it's killing it on the big screen. It's like the movie that has brought back the hope for movies again.
Because it's a big
It's
movie.
that type of movie.
And it's also, people are feeling more comfortable going, and it's kind of like, oh, we can do this again. That's right, this is fun.
Big things punch each other.
And also part of it takes place in Hong Kong. So it's doing very well in China.
Yeah, of course.
And so I do feel like it probably would play better on a big screen.
Absolutely.
I watched it on a TV. It wasn't on my phone. I watched it on a TV.
And you have 4K.
No.
You don't you on your 55-inch TV?
No.
You don't?
Joe, call me.
Yeah, you should call Zach.
I was going to say...
Zach got me a 75-inch TV.
We'll never
crank
stop
TV.
mentioning that.
Yeah.
I really like the look of this. I think, like you said, King Kong. I will use his title. King Kong looked great.
He hasn't earned it yet.
Godzilla looked cool, and when they were on screen, spoiler because they do fight. That's kind of in the title.
A lot.
They do fight in this movie. And when they were fighting, it was fun to watch because it wasn't obscured by stupid smoke.
You're right. Actually, there was a lot of daylight, right?
Yeah,
fighting and to
and
see
brightly
CG
lit, like
during,
neon lights.
And for people that like maybe just watch big blockbusters here and there, seeing CG take place in daylight is rare.
Yeah, because it's a lot easier to cover things up in the nighttime.
Right.
So what did you think of the time when Godzilla was like, save Martha? And then
Save Mothra.
Okay.
Really?
Mothra.
A co-host of Bacon Cell just pulled that out.
Sorry, buddy.
Zach.
But I enjoyed whenever the fighting was happening and the creatures were on screen. I'm like, cool, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I lost interest every single time those humans came on the screen.
Of course you did.
There's multiple stories going on. One of them, completely a waste of time. They do nothing to further
Millie
the plot.
Bobby Brown story.
Yes, nothing to further the plot. Terrible jokes. The story doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, they were an anchor point to get to what we needed to see from the villains, essentially.
Led by a podcaster, criminologist, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. No, hey, podcasters save the world.
No.
Okay?
I'm telling you right now, we don't. But it was so annoying every time they got on the screen. And so I was like, you know what? I'm really not interested in watching this one again.
Oh, the movie again.
No. But if they said, hey, we're going to release a highlight reel of the fights on IMAX,
Yep.
I would go watch that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay as much, but I'd go watch it.
Right.
So overall, I didn't like it. I wasn't overly impressed. Like, I don't want to watch this movie again. But at the same time, some parts I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And some parts really annoyed me, which we'll get into the spoiler full section. But I'm going to give this 2.5 stars out of 5.
All right. Is that better than King of the Monsters?
Oh, geez, I'd have to go back and look what I gave King of the Monsters.
I feel like you were being more positive because you were quite angry at that movie.
Well, that one...
Because I feel like the human element in that movie itself was like really tacky, just kind of annoying. Whereas in this one, it was just kind of unnecessary.
It's more that I feel like the action was better in this one. I thought it looked better.
Yeah.
And the characters did not have a fundamental moral flaw that everyone tried to defend as something good.
Right.
There.
Okay.
That's my rant.
So you're less mad.
I'm less mad at this one
stars.
because it was colorful.
All right, I'm going to jump in next. I am going to completely agree with...
I gave Godzilla King of the Monsters 1.5 stars.
Oh, wow. So this is way better.
Well, 1. It's still not like... I didn't like it. 3 is like the liking one.
I mostly completely agree with you, except for I'm far more positive because the action is incredible to watch. This is some of the best CG I've seen in a movie
Incredibly
like this.
predictable.
It's monkeys. It's a monkey and a lizard punching each other.
Ape, not a monkey.
It's a giant ape. You can call him King Kong. I'll call him a monkey.
No, I will call him King Kong. You call him by his title.
But it delivers exactly what you went to see this movie for. Like, it is the most fun I've had watching a movie in this franchise because there's maybe 40 minutes of straight action. And then there's a human part too, right? Which is that's the part you want to fast forward. But
It's
the one thing,
almost 2 hours long. I would say about 40 minutes was good.
yeah. But the one thing they did really well is there's kind of two B plots with a human group of characters.
Yes.
And with like Alexander Skarsgård, Rebecca Hall, and there's a young girl who communicates with Kong, similar to Congo. Mm-hmm. That part is actually quite watchable, even though the sci-fi elements are a bit... It's funny to watch. It's almost like ironically like, hey, yeah, this definitely takes place in the Godzilla universe because those movies get a little bit strange, as we may discuss at some point in the future. But
like even there's the whole technology element where like in the movie before King of Monsters, regular technology, and now all of a sudden it's like super sci-fi
they
technology.
actually have set this up that this has been like the plan all along, and they've been secretly working behind the scenes. That is their explanation.
Maybe they should let us see behind the scenes because that made no sense. The movies are putting up.
You're just supposed to go along with it.
But you were winding up for a pitch here.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is in that Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall's story, they at least are with Kong on screen at all times. And that is why the movie is still watchable during that human element. Because if he wasn't, you'd be like, hurry up to the monsters.
Yeah.
But because he's there and he's a sympathetic, impressive looking creature, I was totally in. Granted, to get to when they fought, some of the things were super ridiculous.
Yes.
And it made me smile, but then they started punching each other. And I smiled even bigger. I was gleeful watching the action in this movie.
Gleeful.
I was like, yeah! Because King of the Monsters, to me, it impressed me by how much they put on screen. Even though it was obscured, this one removed the smoke and made it just look so cool and exactly what I think we should have been seeing all along from this franchise. So this, to me, is the best of the lot. Even though Godzilla...
The best of which lot?
The
of the
American
MonsterVerse?
Godzilla MonsterVerse.
Okay.
Godzilla
Better
is,
than Kong Skull Island,
Yes.
which was your previous high.
Yes.
Okay.
Godzilla 2014 is the prettiest, most artistic film, but there's just too much I don't care for in that movie.
We call this the Titanverse? Anyway, go on.
They could, but it's the MonsterVerse.
No, that starts with Remember the Titans.
I think they
And
call
it-
this
and
the
ends
Dark
with Wrath of
Universe.
Titans.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I give this one a stupid B- because I have to really give it a better grade than an average movie because the action delivered, and that's what this movie
What'd you give the Fast and the Furious
made
franchise,
for.
Kent?
Delightful.
This is the same realm.
It kind of is, but this one to me is more my alley. These are giant monsters fighting, and I'm here to see it.
Okay. Zach?
I guess I'll echo a lot of what you said and just be short.
Which one? Who are you echoing?
All of it.
We both kind of agree. I'm just more positive.
So I'll tell
on
you
it.
about my viewing experience. I watched this movie and only half paid attention. And
What does that mean, Zach?
Guess what half I paid attention to?
Making out.
No, I was alone. I was doing laundry.
Yes, you're folding.
Yeah,
that's
I was
super boring.
Folding laundry and cleaning my room, but there's the parts with the CGI. It's outstanding.
It's outstanding.
Seriously amazing.
Fun to
And
watch.
It's shocking
you
that
can't
they're
not
like,
watch.
yeah, let's throw it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Which, granted, if your TV's okay or whatever, it's a cool experience, but it needs to be seen on
Which
the big
props
screen.
them for still making money when it's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Well, nobody has HBO Max, Joel.
No, good point.
There's the 16 people that watched the Snyder Cut and
You're on a roll.
that I liked.
Yeah,
That I liked.
I know.
No, I think this movie is honestly like it is what it
Cotton candy?
it is what it sets out to be.
Yes.
That's what it is. It is what it is, and that's fine. It knows what it is, and much like the Fast and Furious franchise, like you know what you are signing up for by this point. There's been enough movies, even though I haven't seen them. Like I get it, and I've heard all the talk, and so I got exactly what I was expecting out of this movie. I think it's really cool. That said, I couldn't care less about any of the human stuff going on that only half made sense when I was half paying attention.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Kong looks
Would
great.
you watch this on the big screen again?
Yes. Yeah.
The whole movie?
I would like to
It's
watch.
only 2 hours. Like, to me, that seems
It's
short
a
for a
long
movie
time.
nowadays.
I'd like to watch the other ones and then maybe watch it on the big screen.
What about my highlight reel that I offer? Where it's a highlight reel in IMAX.
Oh, I'd watch that in a second.
Amazing.
I'd pay full
Yeah.
price. Yeah,
Okay.
just because that part looks so good.
It really does.
And yeah, even the sci-fi special effects are good. Yeah, so I will give it. That was pretty awesome. 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, a bunch of positive folks here.
I know.
it's a big
we're really
movie.
sorry.
We haven't seen it in a minute. If this had come out 2 years ago, we'd been like, nah.
I think also there is the excitement of a big movie happening these days. It's like it's been a year and a half since we've seen anything
Couldn't
of
have
this.
Tenet have done this?
Yeah, well, Tenet to me is like cerebral, right? It wasn't the big budget explosive movie.
But still had action pieces.
It was almost too thoughtful to be that successful. Whereas this one is
Like
just
me.
like, let's punch each other on
I'm
an
too thoughtful
aircraft
to be
carrier.
successful. Successful?
Yeah,
Successful.
something like that.
I would give this movie a 9 if it didn't have people in it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, your highlight reel.
Just them punching each other the whole time.
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
Yeah.
get to spoilers
Okay.
then.
Okay.
Okay.
Spoilers! That's pretty good.
Wow.
Are you all right?
No, my
Do you
throat
need to
hurts
clear your
now.
throat real quick? So should we talk about human characters or should we talk about the big bad that, of course, the two monsters have
We'll
to
get
fight in the
there.
end? Okay.
We'll get there. Obviously, the big bad is obvious bad guy.
I disagree.
Oh, come on.
I disagree. I think obvious bad guy is a good guy.
stop.
Yeah. Okay. By obvious,
Because depending on your perspective.
Okay.
No,
there's a scientist. Okay,
the bad scientist
with a beard. So already we're
It's dark.
starting.
It's a dark beard.
It's a dark beard, and he has an accent.
and he's a capitalist, of course.
Yes. He's very much like this, where he's like, I want to do everything. I want to be
But
everyone.
what they're doing
Also, have you tried Nisonex?
is they're creating for some reason, a facsimile of Godzilla in robot form, which should protect us from Godzilla and Titans, which is a great idea.
But I don't really understand why. It's like, why? I understand why.
Used.
It's because Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
But it's also why, because why wouldn't you do like
Pacific Rim
a
Jaegers?
Jaeger? Yeah, someone in human form to fight against a dinosaur.
The rumor was that was supposed to happen before there were some issues behind the scenes, like 6-7 years ago.
Not that I even like Pacific Rim.
I think Pacific Rim.
The first one's good.
But the thing that bothered me is that the Millie Bobby Brown podcaster conspiracy
The shoehorn.
and
The shoehorn
New
plot.
Zealand kid that serves no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
Their story could literally have been bad guy cam, which in movies, bad guy cam is just
Kind of like if you've seen 24, you always see from the bad guy's perspective.
Yeah, you get to see what they're up to, and you're like, oh, they're bad guys. They're doing bad things, and you don't need a everyman there.
It would make the movie so much better and 20 minutes shorter if they did that. Because if the bad guy were to just communicate with each other, which is in previous Godzilla movies as well, that would be so much better instead of being like, hey, there's no security at this bad guy base.
Okay, so it starts out that they're like, this podcaster guy actually works for the bad guys as an
apparently.
accountant.
No one knew.
But he can wander freely.
Yeah.
And then he podcasts about how he's going to do bad things to the company.
And it's like they have no security cameras whatsoever. Because, then...
I think they treat it as in Godzilla has kind of attacked us, so we're kind of low budget security at this point.
Bare bones security.
Kind of, yeah.
But even then, the place gets demolished by Godzilla. Then everyone abandons the base, apparently. There's no police presence. There's no security watching over these giant holes in the walls. People could just wander around the rubble. There's not even like caution tape up, I'm pretty sure. And the whole time I was like, what is this Earth? What is this place?
Well, the Earth is a place where they teased the Hollow Earth for a long time. We need to talk about the Hollow Earth.
Did they tease it before?
They did. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they're talking about Hollow Earth, and I'm like, what?
There was a reference in the pre- and post-credit scenes of the other movies.
Oh, God.
But it's a thing. They're meant to say, like, Skull Island has a direct link to the Hollow Earth. And the Hollow Earth is
Then why did they take Kong away from Skull Island?
And put him in the fake Skull
How did they
Island?
get... Where did that dome come from?
So
Where the Hunger Games dome come from?
Well, it's been years and their technology has advanced greatly.
But why keep him there? Why not just keep him on Skull Island?
Because Skull Island has been destroyed. Oh. They briefly mentioned that the storms that were surrounding Skull Island have destroyed the island.
So they brought him to
and that girl is the one survivor from the island.
A scientific habitat.
Yes.
Instead of just on another island.
Biosphere.
Another island where he would have been fine.
Yeah.
How hard do you think it is to teach a big ape sign language?
Well, that's the thing. They didn't know.
No. How hard would it be to teach a big ape sign language in complete secrecy while he's under 24-hour surveillance?
Well, sure.
Just saying. They're like, how did he learn to speak? And I'm like, you've been watching him every day.
Proposal.
Tell me.
The Truman Show, but it's Kong.
He knows that he's in it.
No.
He throws the stick right at the beginning.
That's true.
But watch it. What's more difficult? Building an entire biosphere,
you're losing,
or putting him on another island.
We know it's dumb. It is just
they
dumb.
Got to keep him in a box, Joel.
But then,
why?
Then they take spaceships to a well-lit Hollow Earth.
How? How is it lit? How is it lit?
Volcanoes.
It's inside the Earth.
Volcanoes.
No. Bright sunny day.
Back it up. Why did they need Kong? If they knew where this hole was, if they knew exactly where to go, why did they need Kong?
Oh, because Kong would take him to the throne of his ancestors, where they have the axe and they have the life force that they could email over to the bad guy.
Wait.
Look, I'm not speeding anything up. It all makes sense, Joel.
Wait. Okay, so they say we need Kong to help guide us to this place that we know where to go.
Well, they didn't know where the temple was.
They did. But
no, you're right. There were a couple wormholes, because they are wormholes when you get to the anti-gravity Hollow Earth.
They are until Godzilla burrows into Hollow Earth, and then it's just a big hole.
He just shoots a big hole, and we're there.
Digs down, and he's there. No wormhole. No wormhole.
Did that take like 8 minutes for him to breathe fire down
Atomic
to the core
breath
of
does
the Earth?
amazing things.
He drills
and
holes.
then thin crust. Kent, nobody has dug more than 14 feet in the ground. It is a scientific fact.
He drills holes better than Bruce Willis in Armageddon.
I thought part of him like, wait, no, they're not. Yeah, they are. Wow.
Well, because
did you know the Earth is a big chocolate bunny?
kind of
peanut butter
with monsters in there.
Yeah, but
of course there's peanut butter.
People that haven't seen the movie are so confused right now. So okay,
I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Jumping all over. They say we need Kong to go to Hollow Earth, but we're going to know where the cave is. And then they take Kong to the cave and say, "Hey, your family's in here."
Yeah.
And then he goes in, and they go in and have a whole contact interstellar moment going through this wormhole.
Right.
And they come out in the middle of the Earth, and it's just like outside Earth.
Well, it's like
Outsider.
Skull Island with monsters. And
it's like, but it's like Interstellar, where the two lands are kind of above and below each other, and gravity.
It's
is
actually
wonky.
a real disappointment they didn't just focus the movie on Hollow Earth. Like if that were the movie, because like we've seen cities get destroyed in movies before.
It should have happened.
Granted, in Hong Kong, how beautiful the environment was with the lighting.
Really yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
but
cool.
like maybe in the next movie when Kong becomes King Kong or something,
he already is.
He could own Hollow Earth because that feels to me more like a world I want to explore.
I'm Prince Kong.
I'm only Diddy Kong at this point, Father. So he goes down. They go down to Hollow Earth. It's very well lit, and then they walk around for a bit, and then instead of just flying around, they go to this cave, and then Kong goes over and decides, "Oh yeah, there's my throne. I remember this place from my ancestors." I think he speaks at this point because both animals are very communicative and very expressive in their emotions and their hand gestures. But I was like, they're not animals anymore. So he goes and sits on the throne. Literally sits on the throne.
They are buried gods, essentially.
Literally picks up
owners
an
of the
axe.
planet.
Well, he's been an ape this whole time, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I can do everything now." Because he picks up an axe that has Godzilla tail shards in it that then energizes because he holds it. Godzilla then senses this up in Tokyo.
From the ground, there is a life force that is there that is very powerful.
Okay, screenwriter. And then he picks up the axe, it energizes, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's energizing the axe from the core of the earth," which is basically like in The Wizard when she says, "Oh, that's the magic whistle, Jimmy. Use that, you'll be able to warp." How do you know that? How do you know that? So then it energizes.
This review is, can Joel bump this down to a 1.5 in one review?
Godzilla senses that the energy is being brought to the Thor's hammer axe, and so then he burrows down to Hollow Earth, not to go down, just to open up so then King Kong can climb out and they can fight. Yeah. That's where we're at right now. Continue.
Yeah. And then it was freaking awesome because then he jumps back up through the hole, through the, how many thousands of miles is that?
It's 18 feet.
It's 18 feet. Yeah. He jumps up 18 feet really quick.
Through the chocolate bunny.
And then they fight. And in truly, the thing they excel at, because man, the plots are just so dumb.
Yeah.
Just so dumb, is when they fight. Like you actually, to me, I've struggled with scale in some of these movies because Godzilla in the 2014 one, in the 2014 movie, he was so big and it was just so dominant. And I feel like they really nailed it in this movie what this battle could be like with a giant ape jumping off of buildings and everything and the destruction that's there.
There's something so satisfying about watching Kong just wind up and just sock Godzilla in the face.
Well, and then I actually felt emotions. And yes, they're very expressive, like you said. They almost could have talked, but I felt for them as characters. Like obviously more as Kong because this is more of a Kong movie rather than Godzilla is just kind of like, hey, I'm jealous, and if you guys move in my world, I'm gonna get you. Even
though Godzilla wins 2 out of 3 times,
he should. I love Kong, but Godzilla should win based on everything he can do. But if this was a bracket, Godzilla would win barely.
But then, okay, the first time they meet,
the aircraft carrier when Prince Kong is underwater and struggling. I was like,
Sir Kong.
Hurry, get above water.
You knew he was going to live.
Of course he did.
But I felt the same way.
Like, oh, hurry.
But that's the thing. So the first time they fight, apparently there's this rule now where these titans are drawn to each other. Like,
Godzilla King of the Monsters, they established that. It's echolocation.
I may have fallen asleep with that part.
You did, because it's echolocation.
They're like, no matter where on the earth, where all of a sudden, if Kong is around, Godzilla will find him.
If there's a threatening presence,
and I'm like,
Godzilla will take it down.
There can be only one. This is the Highlander. They can sense each other, and then they want to fight.
You're right, though.
So Kong is strapped down, like chained down, and then Godzilla swims up to him, which is a really cool scene. And then they unleash Kong and they fight. Now, Kent, you were very kind to invite me to your beach house.
Yeah.
And we went out on paddle boards. Have you ever stood on a paddleboard?
I can barely stand on my own on a paddleboard.
I want you to throw a punch at me the next time we're on a paddleboard and see how that goes.
Can we do that next time we go?
Or better yet, jump from one paddleboard to the other and then swing a punch at me.
I'm going to climb on top, push some jets over, and you and I are going to have a wrestling match on a paddleboard.
King Kong is jumping from battleship to, there's like a fleet of battleships. He's jumping from one to the other and fighting Kong. And I'm like, there's no way he's standing upright.
They're super heavy.
So is King Kong.
Please comment on this episode which one you think is King Kong or Godzilla, Kent or Joel.
I want to be Mothra. Okay, let's jump to Mechagodzilla, because truly, in any versus movie, you need to fight each other and then unite for the bigger bad.
You realize that you're friends and then fight the bigger bad.
Right. And so in comes Mechagodzilla, which, to describe Mechagodzilla, it's Godzilla, he's metal, but with the brain or like basically connection to King Ghidorah.
It is totally
from Godzilla, King of the
Pacific
Monsters.
Rim. They're
It
like,
totally is.
I'm going to phase into this robot and then control him.
But I love that element. I love King Ghidorah because I thought he was so threatening in the last movie. And so I love that there's still like a spirit there, a presence in the head.
Because it overtakes the human and then has a mind of its own.
Yes. And I actually really like that because it was just like, here's an alien monster that takes over a robot that can almost crush anything if they're on their own. And I just really love that element where it took over and it wasn't just the humans being like all big bad. It was Ghidorah once again.
I kind of like it, but also is one of the things that felt shoehorned in. Because
you're
it's for the fans.
Right. It's 100% for the fans.
It is. And you're absolutely right. If it would have been just the guys in there controlling it, it would have been as cool. And even if the robot had malfunctioned and suddenly became sentient, still, I think the other element is more fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, we've seen this. This is done. This is Pacific Rim. You're pulling this into this movie, and I don't even like Pacific Rim.
You don't love the first one?
No.
No, yeah.
The humans, remember? I hate the humans.
Yeah, I love that movie so much.
That sounds
it's such
bad.
a guilty
out of
pleasure.
context.
Joel hates humans. But like even that part, I was totally in because that's where a lot of the daylight fighting scenes happen. Mm. And there is that struggle where, Kong is injured, Godzilla is injured. They have to come together, and it ends very... What?
When Alexander Skarsgård uses a spaceship as a defibrillator.
He was given a clue earlier in the movie.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot about my worst hated part of the movie.
Okay.
The dumbest part of the movie is they finally get down to King Kong's throne.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we're here. We want to get this sample of this power material. And so literally there's oceans of this stuff all over the floor. And they want to get like a dime-sized portion. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, that's basic scientific procedure right there.
Right.
So
the sample.
And they don't even need the sample. They just need the Wi-Fi signal
code or
from
whatever.
the sample.
Right.
And all of a sudden they can duplicate it above ground. It made no sense.
It made no sense. But they've got to kill the villains at that point. They got to kill I think it's Asa Benitez. They're like, oh yeah, she's bad obviously. So let's just kill her. Extremely.
Yes.
But no, I think the humans had a good point in this movie. I think they should build another Mechagodzilla to kill these two titans.
You saw how that went. That was the other thing. So Millie Bobby Brown is like, hey, Godzilla attacked this facility. We have to know why. And I'm like, maybe he's a giant lizard. Maybe he's a wild animal. And they're like, oh, he was building a Mechagodzilla. That's why he attacked the facility. And I'm like, or he's a giant destroying monster.
So Zach, we've been yelling at each other for the past 20 minutes.
Zach's here. Zach, hey. Hi, buddy.
Do you think this has potential for more movies? Did this feel like a proper capstone to you for the one movie that you saw? Is this all you'd need to see from the franchise going forward?
I mean, where do you go from here?
Where do we go?
So I drew the comparison earlier, but seriously though, where do you go after Batman fights Superman? Like
Justice League.
So we already had
Justice League.
all of all the monsters in the previous one, King of the Monsters, I believe.
But not all the monsters, just some of the more famous monsters.
So you can do more of the same.
Yes.
But this, I think, was the pinnacle. Anything after this is like, that's cool too.
But what if they had like good writing, like with good human characters?
Has that happened in the history of Godzilla movies?
We'll find out.
Ooh. Is that a tease?
I would say this. If they literally release a movie that's just the monsters, and it's like everything, and you throw everything at it, and you get rid of the people and this forced plot and all of that.
I'm pretty sure Kong and Godzilla were quoting Shakespeare at the end of this movie, if I remember right. They were doing whole soliloquies. There was sign language. It was amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in more after what I saw. I mean, I know that already exists.
Because it's so much fun. Like why not let Hollywood make a big dumb monster movie again and enjoy it?
Why not make more Marvel movies, Kent?
Solid point, Joel. It's a solid point.
That's just for you. I think Marvel movies have value.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. About as much value as this one. Yeah.
But they don't have Godzilla getting punched by King Kong.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
That was fun. And even in the trailer, you get to see that. It's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anything else you want to say about this movie? I said a lot. I apologize.
You did what?
I said a lot. I apologize.
You're angry. Are you down to 2 stars yet?
No.
It's still 2.5?
Because the thing is, I still, like, when those fighting moments would happen, I'm like, this is fun. Oh, I'm bored
Joel,
again.
your kids, or maybe let's say you're young again, would this be a movie you could enjoy on a Saturday afternoon?
You said, I actually asked you, I said, hey, this is one I watch with my kids. And you said, they use some adult words. It's really minimal. Like this, I could watch this with my older children. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And did you watch it with them?
No, and I really should have.
Could they enjoy it?
I feel like these movies, kids will enjoy them more. Shall I say
I think so too.
Because kids and teens, where it's like, this is really cool, big spectacle. And then, like a kid, you tune out the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched movies before as a kid, and I watch them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a whole story here I didn't even know. I was just in it for the cool car chase.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
Do you think that it's possible that you could literally just have, Godzilla versus Kong? Like, if that's how this movie went, much like the original.
Cost about $400 million to do a movie of that caliber.
No, you just get the suits back. Bring the suits back. No CGI.
Oh, man in suit?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it's just, you don't have the team up for the big bad. It's literally just a knockdown, drag out fight between these two big characters, and that's the movie.
Like, because Benji the Hunted with no dialogue?
If it's a Kong movie, yes. If it's a Godzilla, no.
Really?
I think Godzilla
Kong is the heart.
Yes.
So you would say if Kong wins, and he's the protagonist, as it were,
right,
then you're okay with that.
But I just don't see it happening.
Because I have a movie for you, if you think that. It came out a long time ago.
I'm listening.
Okay.
The
original.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I do tire of the we have to fight each other for a minute and then turn around and come together.
But thankfully, it's not just a minute. That's true. They put their money where their mouth is. They pull no punches.
No, they do pull punches, because the problem is, in a franchise, you don't want to kill off monetary characters.
Yeah.
This movie, if they were to do a standalone Kong versus Godzilla,
Quicksilver,
where literally one of them is going to die at the end.
Oh, you're saying if one of them died, it would be better?
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying if we were to make one of those movies, it would have to be like that. You couldn't have a whole tie at the end and be like, all right, see you next movie.
And then Godzilla's like, I'm going back in the sea.
Yeah.
Arr. All right.
Arr.
Just a thought.
All right, so we're all generally positive.
For the fight scenes.
Yes.
And generally hating on the people scenes.
So fast forward a lot of it, but see it on the big screen, so you can't really fast forward.
The bigger screen, the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you saw it, if you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about these kind of matchup movies. And we love hearing from you, so let us know.
And coming soon, we'll have a review of Mortal Kombat on HBO Max as well.
Oh, no.
So excited.
Rawr. You call him by his title.